Welcome back to Julie's Wreath Boutique. So you guys have been asking for this video for years and I just haven't done it. So I get better at my editing skills and figure out, Julie, you could just download those videos and just recompile them in a new video. So that's what we've done. And honestly, this is part one, guys, because we have enough to do another video. So sit back, relax, and learn how to make some centers for all your flower wreaths. So, and a glue gun. So what I'm going to do is, the Wreath shop has this flex tubing, and if Trinity Tree has it too, I'll look there as well. But this is just the natural color. Years ago, they used to sell a yellow color, and it was really pretty, and I wish they still sold it, but I don't even think they make it anymore. But we're going to put like a natural color center in here to kind of give it a natural feel. So the way we're going to do that is, this is just kind of some leftover, so I'm just going to clip my clip here, is we're going to take some plastic canvas mesh. You could take one of these little coasters. We don't need it to be quite this big. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a template out of this one, and we're going to make it a little bit smaller because you really don't need it to be big. So I'm going to make a template here, and this can be done for any size wreath, okay? So what you're going to do is I think this is good right here. Let's see, and that went from like a 4.5 inch to about a 3 inch in diameter, okay? So that was just a coaster. Or you could take the plastic canvas if you have some of this left over, and you could just cut about a 3 inch diameter as well. So what you're going to do is you're going to say, okay, that looks about right, because our mesh or our tubing is going to go beyond that circle. So let's use this since we already have it cut. And I would recommend using like the 4 inch zip ties, but I'm all out, so I'm going to have to use my 8 inch, and that's okay. I'm going to take this and I'm going to throw it on the ground because I need it to unravel, because it does like to twist around. And I've showed you guys this in the past, but I haven't done this in a very long time. So I figured I will show you guys how to do this really quick, and we will make a center, and it's what I called my seated center. This was like the 3rd or 4th video I ever did on YouTube, and I will leave that link down below. It's for a bigger section, so if you had like a sunflower or whatever, you could fill it all up, but we're just going to use a little one. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your jute tubing and you're going to wrap around your 4 fingers here, once, twice, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 times, okay? You can do it more, you can do it less, it's up to you. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to pinch it in the middle, all right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a zip tie, and I'm going to go through, just one of these, wherever I can find a spot, all right? And then I'm going to go down, back in the center here, okay? And I'm going to move this over to the middle there, and we're going to pull it down. Now, you could use pipe cleaners. You could cut pipe cleaners and use those as well. I just kind of like doing this. Is just easy. I'm not twisting a lot with my hands. So I'm going to cut that. So now I'm going to take, and you can kind of move it around too. So what our goal is we want it to kind of stick up like that. So right now it's a little flat. So I'm going to focus on making one in this direction, but the opposite. Instead of going this way, we're going to go this way. So we're going to wrap our fingers again. You can see how much room I give you there. So you got about 1 inch there. And you're going to wrap it about 4 times. See how it gets a little twisted. 4 or 6 times, I should say. I'm going to grab it. So 1 end is coming in this way, and 1 end should be coming the other direction. Okay, do you see that? All right. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this directly behind this one so that it'll start standing up. So I'm going to take my zip tie again, and I'm going to just go through, find a spot, doesn't matter. We're not going to see these zip ties once we get all of these little loops around, okay? And then I'm going to go back through, and then you're just going to attach your zip tie. Just make sure it's kind of even and it's not lopsided. So that looks good. All right, I'm gonna pull that. Again, if you had the smaller ones, use the smaller ones and you're not wasting as much. But I need to order some. Okay, so I'm just kind of looking at it. All right, so I'm gonna bring this around and I'm gonna put one right here. You're just gonna simply work your way around your little mesh. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that's almost done, so that's good. And you're just going to, let's say that works right there. And you're just going to keep making the loops and attaching them to your mesh here. And as you can see, I need to start over. They have like, usually have like 3 strands and they're 30 yards. Is that right? 30 yards or 30 feet? I think it's 30 feet. I think it's 10 yards. I can't remember. So I'm just going to attach. Okay. So what I plan on doing is I'm just going to keep going around and filling it. So when I get around here, it'll force this up and it'll be a nice round center. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I have my center done. As you can see, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 loops, you know, the handfuls of loops. And you're just going to, whenever you have an ending, you're just going to clip it off. So I'm going to just take a wire and I just try to find that center one that I started with. And I'm just going to put my wire down over top of that start into the mesh. Okay. So you're going to pull it down. All right. Because when it comes together, you're not going to see it. And then I'm just going to find a spot where I can grab it to the canvas that's on the bottom of this frame. All right. So the key is to cover everything in the middle. You could use some yarn if you wanted to, some like chunky yarn, but make sure it doesn't get wet. If it gets wet, then it's just going to kind of fall apart and it might mold too. So we don't want that to happen on your wreath. So I'm just going to twist it in the back here. And then I just like to put my wires back into the wreath frame. So I use this roping from Hobby Lobby. I've been using this for years now. I started this probably 2 or 3 years ago. And basically it kind of, I got glue here, so of course that's bothering me. It's kind of evolved from the different bases that I've used. So I've kind of stuck to this one. And it seems to work really well. So again, these are just the little coasters, plastic mesh, and you can get them already cut out, and this is the size I use. You can cut your own size if you want, but this is just really handy. I cut out 2 pieces of felt, and I just glue, move this out of the way here, get my glue stick in there. I will glue this like a little sandwich, okay? I'm going to put my little coaster right here. And if you didn't have this and wanted to maybe use like a piece of cardboard, that would work too. It would be, you just need a stiffer structure, and that's what this helps create. And then I'm just going to put some glue on top and then put my felt on top. Now, the reason why I'm using the colored felt is that if there's any gaps of us putting this on, and I know this is going to be harder to see, so I'm going to try to like focus into this for you because it's black on black. But the reason why I use the black felt, because I've tried with the white felt, and you can always see little pieces of white through it. So it's just good to have the same color felt that you use for your center. You could use, they have navy, they have red, they have like a brown color. So this is just what I like to do. Okay, so the next thing is I take a 22 gauge wire. I don't know if you can see that or not. I'm going to take a pair of sharp scissors, and I am just simply going to poke a hole through this on 2 sides. And then you're just going to run your wire through that. Take the other side and go through the other side. So what this does, this creates how we are going to attach our center to our flower, okay? So now let's get started on the middle. Now, I think getting it started is probably the hardest step, and you need some patience, and that's okay. So you're just going to take your end of your roping and you're going to start in the middle, okay? I like to kind of go over the part where I cut. And you're just going to kind of hold it there. The key to this is getting it started. So I'm just going to hold it here and I'll come back when it's dry. Okay, so we've got the center started. So all you're going to do is you're going to just keep adding little steps or little things of glue. And it's just going to take some time and some patience, and you're just going to wrap it, okay? And I'm just going to keep doing this process all the way until I get to the end, until I feel like I have a nice circular center for this flower. I do like the Gorilla glue sticks. I do have them in my Amazon shop. And I like how they kind of keep things together in different weather conditions. Okay, so I'm already getting to the end. I need to make sure that all of this is covered. So I'm just putting glue on the rope itself because we've pretty much ran out of the surface that we had. Oops, need some more glue. So you're just gonna kind of, at this point, it's gonna be more on the rope and the edge. So it does get a little bit bigger. And the key is just holding it together, making sure that it all adheres together. All right, so I'm going to just add a little bit more. I got some there, so this is going to go underneath. And just at the right spot. I need to go under. So I'm just going to hold this together. And then for the end, I put a little bit of glue underneath here. I put it right there. And then I take a little bit of felt. You could leave it like this, but I always like to add this little extra measure here. I just take a piece of scrap felt. Got glue all over my fingers now. And I'm just going to put glue on this felt. And this will help hold it down. So when you're done, you can just take a lint brush and try to get off any of the lint that might still be on the middle because it's a dark color, so it's going to show a little bit. And then what I like to do is I like to get my Sharpie, and if it's the black and if there's any glue showing, I can go through and use my black Sharpie to cover any of the spots. That's what I like about the black center. All right, so now we're going to work on the center of this wreath and then we'll put it all together. This is going to be very simple to do. I'm going to take one of these 5 or 4.8 inch round disc floral foams you can get at Dollar Tree. There's 2 in a package for $1, so that's a really good deal. And what I did was I painted it. Now I painted it this brown color because I wanted it to kind of match the wreath that we're making. So whatever color wreath you're making and you want that color to kind of pop out, use that. And then the thing that we're going to go over top of is a Dollar Tree doily. Now these can be found like in the kitchenwares department, like where the towels, the kitchen towels and the kitchen utensils are, at least at my Dollar Tree is where they are found. So I'm going to get rid of this and I'm going to just kind of lay this over top here. And what I liked about this was that center flower was like the perfect size for this little foam circle. Couldn't think right there for a moment. Okay, so I'm just gonna like eyeball it and I'm going to just take it and I'm going to go underneath here. We're gonna flip it over and I've got a good hold on it. So I'm gonna keep it because I don't want it to move on me. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my little T-pens. If you've been watching me for a while, you know I like these little T-pens with the little T, they look like a T. And people get on to me about saying pens versus pens. Am I not saying it right? I don't know. So pins, I'm trying to be very clear. So I'm just gonna keep bringing it up one side here, and we're gonna trim some of this off because this is gonna be a little too much. Oh, there went my elephants. You guys know about my herd. If you don't know about my herd, those are my children. They're upstairs running around. So this is fall of 2020. We homeschooled this year. What are you doing? Are your kids at school? Are your grandkids at school? Are they at home? What have you had to do in this new world that we have found ourselves living in? So I'm going to go on this side. And at this point, let me get some good scissors. Let me go get some good scissors and I'll be right back. Okay, so I found them. And so I'm going to kind of trim some of this up, kind of get this bulk out of the way. I don't know about you, but I'm very guilty of this. I have good scissors and I'll be like, oh, those are only for fabric. And then I'll be like in a little bind and I'll be really impatient and I'll use them on something and then they get dull. I want to kick myself for doing that, but that's what I do. I do like this Fiskars brand, or Fiskars, I think it's Fiskars. Okay, so that way we got some of the excess off. So you're looking at what we're doing here. So I'm going to do this side now. And I do go in at an angle, just so you know, because this isn't a real deep part. And I just want to make sure that everything looks really smooth on the sides. You could put some glue here. I'm just not going to I don't want to put the glue because I will burn my fingers because of the holes in the doily. That's me. All right, so I think that's good. Now, when you look at that, just look at it, make sure it's laying right. But I think that's really pretty. Kind of has that farmhouse feel. So if you've watched me before, and I know a lot of you have, thank you so much for following me. We hit that 100,000 mark. You guys are amazing. We're going to put in our little wire here, and I just take 2 little floral pins that I cut down so they're a little bit smaller. And then we're going to put some glue over top of that to help it. I always have that Gorilla Glue sticks in my glue gun as well. Okay, so I put some glue, make sure it's on this little piece of felt, and I just put it over top of that. Oops, got myself there. And then I just take a few more pins and I just go through that glue, and then I know it's not going to go anywhere. Part, I have shared this with you guys before in other videos, where I take these Dollar Tree foam circles. They're like 4.8 inches. So if you had like a 5-inch, that would totally work. There's 2 of them in here, and they're about, a ½ inch or 3/4 of an inch wide. So I take one of them, and I'm going to show you, I soften the edges. So here's the side that I haven't done. It's the 3/4 of an inch, and I get rid of this hard edge. And so what I do, and I'm not going to do it on camera here because it can get really loud, but you're just going to go through the edges very carefully with a knife. Be very careful on this part, okay? Maybe wear some protective gloves if you want, but you're just going to go through and just kind of take off a little bit of the edge. So then what I do, because you can see like a little bit of black here, I take a sanding block and I literally just sand it down until I get this smooth edge that I want. So I'm going to finish this back up, and then I'll come back and we'll start on the middle. Let's put this together. I have it about the way I want it. It's not perfect. All sides are not, equal here, so that's okay. I've got some pins. I have some felt, and I'm going to get out my glue gun here and bring it over. And the glue I'm going to use is actually, let me show you guys, I know this is a bad picture. It's Gorilla Glue Sticks, and it's just a little bit, it bonds better to things a little bit better than normal, and it's for all temperature glue sticks or glue guns. So I just like it. That's what I prefer to use at this point, and I use both. But if I'm going to do a middle, I tend to use the Gorilla Glue Stick. So I'm going to take my rope, and in the middle, I'm going to add a little bit of glue in the center here. And I'm going to take a little pen here. And this still has the tape on the end, but we're going to cover that up. So let me find a pen. And I just like to kind of secure it. If I have, if the rope is big enough that I can cover it pretty easily, I'm going to add a pen. Oops. Okay. Try not to burn my fingers because I don't have my little fingertips on. Okay. Put it all the way in there. Just to kind of help get this started. Get some of that glue out of here. So all we're going to do, and you've seen me do this in other videos, we're just going to go in a circular motion until we're done at this. We're just going to keep adding a little bit of glue, add the rope around it. So right here, I want to go over top of that one because it's got tape on it, and I want to cover that pin. So, and this is just going to take you a little bit of time because you're just going to sit here and you're just going to hold it. All right, so all I'm going to do, so I'm going to keep this together. I'm going to add a little bit of glue. I'm pressing in on it. And this is rope that you can find at Hobby Lobby. It's actually in the ribbon section where they have the ribbon and the mesh. Got some more glue here. Let me maybe turn this around. And so it says it's $7.99. This roll does. The prices may have changed. I always get it when it's half off, and every other week you will find it half off. So even though it's not technically ribbon, it's still in that ribbon section. So as you see, I'm just going to keep going around, and I'm going to be just holding this rope together really, really tightly. And it's just going to take some time. So I'm just going to keep going, and I will come back when I'm at the end to show you how I finish it off. Okay, so we've got it all the way around here. As you can see, I've got it all the way glued. So I'm going to cut a piece off here. I'm going to use this multi-tool cutter. I have these in my Amazon shop, and I like them. There's actually two different pairs, but they both have the same mechanism. And I just like, I think my blade is getting dull. It cuts through really big chunks really well. It's very, very sharp. It's like one blade right there. And then they have extra blades in the handle. So I'm just going to put this over here. I'm going to put a little bit of glue under it. Put a dab of glue there. And then I'm going to take a pen and I'm going to go at an angle just to kind of make sure it's going to stay, okay? And then I'm going to take a piece of felt and go over it like so, all right? And then I'm going to take one of these wires, and this is a 20 gauge, so this is pretty sturdy. So I'm going to add it right here. And then I'm going to take my floral pens. They're the ones that look like they have two sides to it. So I'm just going to add those in at an angle as well. Because the foam isn't that thick, all right? So we're just going to add a few. And then I'm going to take another piece of felt, put some more glue on it, put it over top of that. I'm going to put some glue on the pens. And then we're just going to take another few pens, any kind of pens you've got. I've just got these. I've got extra ones. And I'm going to put that through the glue over top, and it's just going to help hold it all in. And I think that's it. Put one of these right there. You can just move those in. All right. Okay, so we have the middle done. And can I just say that I feel like this rope was made for this poly burlap. So I'm really excited about it. You're just going to take your middle and you're going to go through that plastic canvas mesh that we put in the middle of our wreath frame. And we're just going to twist it really nice here. Pull it all the way through. And just make sure you get it the spot you want. Gonna turn it over. We are going to use this brown poly burlap. I've already cut this into 3 pieces. You will need 1.5 yards each of this burlap. And all you're going to do is you're going to lay them on top of each other like I did here, and then you're going to zip tie the top of it. So I've already braided my poly burlap, as you can see here. It's very simple to do, like you're braiding a little girl's hair. I trimmed off my edges here, and at the end of the braid I used another zip tie, so we just have a long braid. So at this point I'm going to take it and I'm going to stretch it, because you're going to get a little bit more length if you stretch it. Okay, so I'm going to take this end here, and this will be the center of our mound of a braid, and I'm going to just kind of wrap it in to the braid itself. So once I have that started, I'm going to pull it over on this side. I'm going to get some zip ties, and the key here is using as many zip ties as you need to secure this. So I'm just going to run it through here and run it through the other side of the braid. Holding it together to get this process started, and then we're just going to keep wrapping it. And this will give us our start here. Cut that. So I'm going to just keep wrapping this, and as I wrap I'm going to keep putting zip ties. This is a smaller one. I'm going to try it here. I might just stick with the bigger ones. And I'm going to keep connecting the inner part of the braid to the outer part of the braid, and this is what will hold it together for you. There's no gluing with this at all. I think this would be really pretty done with a red base of a sunflower with a black center as well. I mean, really the possibilities are just whatever colors you can get poly burlap in, you can do this. So as you can see, that's the top part, and I'm going to keep wrapping this and keep connecting it as I go through here. What we'll probably do is I'll get to the end and then we'll add some more zip ties just to secure it even more, just to see where there's some looser ends. So as I get to the end here, I need to make sure that that is secured on the inside of this. So I'm going to, there's really no right or wrong way to do this, just wherever you can get the zip ties to cooperate here with you. And sometimes they want to be difficult, and that's okay. So at this point, as you can see, and you can kind of press this up a little bit, but we have the center going on, and so right now all I'm going to do is go back and I'm going to secure with more zip ties to make this more of a solid center. So after you have your center made, now we're going to attach this inside the center of a sunflower wreath base. So I'm going to attach it by running some zip ties here. These are 8-inch. Again, this is not always the easiest. It doesn't always want to cooperate very well. Let's try this side. Okay, that'll work. So I have one over here, and then I'm going to do one on the opposite side. So that way, this is what will hold your center in your base. So I'm going to just fold these in, and I'm going to put it right in the center here. I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to connect it to the rim of my wreath base, the frame. I'm going to straighten this out here and do the same with the exact same side. Be careful not to press this down. You don't want to ruin your petals. So I'm going to flip this over, and I didn't do it too tight that I couldn't move it around a little bit. So now that I have it in, at this point you could stop. You can say that's good, I'm happy with it, but this is where I'm going to add some more petals. So now we're going to work on the middle. I'm taking a 4-inch round foam circle ball, and I cut it in half. You could use, I've also used like a 3.8 inch, but when I went to the store, all they had was the 4-inch at Joann, so that's what we're going to use. So I'm going to take my glue gun, and I'm going to just put a little bit of glue in the center here. And you need to be careful because this is hot. And I'm going to take this ribbon that I get at Hobby Lobby. You can find this in the ribbon aisle, and even though it's rope, it's still considered ribbon, and it's from the Robert Stanley collection. It's 15 feet long. It's $9.99 normally, but it's half price every other week, so make sure you get it half price. So I do this a lot, and I introduced this to y'all probably 1.5 years ago, but we're going to take a piece here, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just help secure this with a little T-pen. This is what they use with quilting, and I'm just going to run that down. Be careful, I just touched the glue. I'm going to run that down, but what I will make sure that I do is that I will make sure I will go over this part. I'm going to show this a little bit closer. I'm going to wrap this around, put the glue around it, make sure that I go over that pen. But I just that kind of helps center it, I guess, is basically what I want to say. So I'm going to put a little bit more glue. I'm going to go over top of it because we want to cover that bottom, the cut part up. All right, so this is where you're going to just really, you're going to be very careful, and you're going to kind of hold it there for a moment. And as I go around it, I'm just ever slightly going over top of the existing rope, okay? Always gets little white things in there, but it's black, so it attracts everything, anything white. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to just keep adding glue, and I'm going to keep wrapping this around. And I will come back and show you how I finish it off on the bottom, just so that you have a really good understanding how to make your own. So, and it just takes some time. You got to just kind of hold this here. And I'm just going to keep going around and around, and I will be back in a moment. Okay, so I'm at the end, and you pretty much have to, you got to press it down because you don't want any of that white to show through. And you could paint this ball black with black paint. The way I end it is I just put a little bit of glue up here, and I will put my rope right on top of that. And it doesn't hurt to take a pen and put it in there. Since it's a dome, it's got lots of room to go. And then I just take a piece of felt, and I will also just help secure that piece to stay right there. Man, that's hot. I can hear it crackling the foam. It's kind of funny. I've never heard it do that before. And then I'll just take another pen and go down there. Take some floral pens, and we're going to just go down there into the foam. Let's see here. And then I'm going to take another piece of felt and put some more glue on it and go over those pieces that we just put in. And this is just going to help keep everything in place. I don't know, can you hear it crackle? And then I'm just going to take, again, some more pens and help secure it that way. Thank you so much for watching this tutorial. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will have a part 2 coming up in the very near future. So if you made it this far, number 1, thanks for watching. Number 2, leave me a flower emoji in the comment section. Make sure to subscribe, and make sure you're here every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because I'll have a new video for you. So until we meet again, we'll see you later. Bye-bye.